Wonderful. I'm just going to go ahead and start by telling you all who I am so that when Shanae pulls it up, we can bypass all of those parts. But welcome to Perfecting Your Media Kit. I'm Martinique Lewis, or Marty Lewis. I am the BTA President. I'm a content creator. I'm a diversity and travel consultant. And okay, Shanae, you can go to the first one because it'll say all this stuff. Because I do so much stuff, I honestly forget all of the things that I do in life. Okay, there we go. I'm a board member of Condé Nast, of the National Outdoor Leadership School of Hertigerton Cruise Company, creator of the ABC Travel Gradebook, what helps you identify Black-owned businesses and Black communities on 6 out of 7 continents. And then I'm the influencer manager at New York City and Company, or the actual destination for New York City. Prior to NYCgo, I worked for Skyroam, and I was the influencer manager there. A lot of people ask me, why would I want to be an influencer manager? Well, because as an influencer, I needed to understand what brands were really, really looking for, what brands were getting, and how to basically differentiate myself as a content creator who at the time had smaller numbers, so I could still get those brand partnerships and brands deal. Next slide, please. So what is a media kit? For a lot of you guys who might not know, who don't really know, media kit can also be called a press kit. So if you're a press kit and media kit, it's the same thing. So a media kit, also referred to as a press kit, is a prepackaged set of marketing materials that promote a person, a business, or a cause. Media kits are an excellent way to introduce the brand to people who may be unfamiliar with it, the brand, the person, the product, such as influencers, event attendees, journalists, or prospective clients. A media kit is a first impression, just like your business card. A media kit is your first impression, which means the material should make people want to learn more about your brand, to provide journalistic coverage of their company, whatever, and answer the question, what do I need to know about this business, this person, or this product? And while a media kit is a collection of information about the brand, not all media kits will look the same. In fact, a creative media kit that showcases the brand or the influencer's personality is much more likely to be successful than a simple set of documents. I am a visual person. Since day one, when making media kits, I always make sure I use beautiful, colorful imagery, because I want people to know what you see in your media kit is what you get. As you guys can see, I'm high energy, I'm vibrant, I'm colorful, whatever. That's what they see in the media kit. So my media kit is literally a complete reflection of who I am as a creator, as a person, the type of energy that they will get. Yes, all things will be recorded for the future. Next slide, please. So what are some media kit myths that I hear? Oh, I don't know. There we go. So the first one is that you don't need a media kit. That is a lie. You definitely need a media kit. If you don't have a media kit, how will we know who you are? I will let you know. As the influencer manager, when people send me pictures and they don't have media kits, I don't even read them. You know why? Because that is what you need. It's like driving a car with no license. You have to have your license, right? So you definitely, well, you don't have to, but y'all know what I mean. You definitely need a media kit when pitching to brands. How will we know who you are? How will we know who you make content for? How will you know the brands that you work with? How will you know who your audience is? How will you know what you actually talk about as a content creator? So you definitely need one. Another myth is that the longer a media kit is, the better. That is a lie. It doesn't have to be any specific length. If you can fit everything on one page, which you can't, then your media kit would be one page. Your media kit definitely needs to be more than one page, but understand there's no length, no rhyme, no reason to how long it actually has to be. It is completely up to you. However, the more information you can provide is better for us as influencer managers. Do we actually read through media kits? Absolutely. Because I know how much effort I put into my own media kits. So when I get media kits, I'm definitely going through, because I'm like, oh, this is either really good, I should add this to my personal one, or, oh, actually, I've never thought about thinking about something in this way, or this is something that all content creators should have, and I need to be able to teach about it whenever I do these type of webinars. So I definitely look through all media kits, but even more so, things don't stop at my level. I have to then send it to my boss, who has to send it to his boss. And then there's the biggest boss. So anytime we want to do things, we're sending creators media kits as well, so that all parties involved can learn about you. You shouldn't add price. I tell people all the time, definitely add price. And the reason why you should add prices is because you don't want any surprises on either party's end, right? At the end of it. So if I reach out to a brand and they see how much my pricing is, then they automatically know if they can afford me or not. Or if a brand reaches out to me and I send it back to them, they can be able to say, okay, she knows this is how much she is. We can either afford it, or this is how we can move forward. The other thing is, you've already committed to a brand, right? Or you're so excited about something that a brand pitched to you, and then they lowball you. And you're like, but this is how much it costs. And they're like, yeah, but you never showed that to us. So I do say definitely have your pricing in your media kit, so we know what we're getting into as a brand, and so that brands understand what they need to do to bring you in as an influencer or a content creator. Another myth, that it has to be on your website. It does not. And the reason that I don't suggest it be on your website, because when people want to work with you, then they have to request it. So it's making them go the extra mile to be able to, first of all, talk to you, create some type of, relationship there, and then request it. And you know exactly who you're sending your media kit to, right? So you don't have to put it on your website. It doesn't have to be there. And the myth that I hate is that it only needs to be done once. I have to revisit my media kit every single quarter. And the reason is because yesterday's price is not today's price, right? When you end up doing different campaigns, that needs to be included because you can use it as case studies. If you end up getting featured into a major article, that makes your price go up because now more people know about you, right? That makes your Q score go up. So y'all really got to think about it in that case of what has changed now. You might have, created an amazing reel that got you an extra 5,000 followers, and your media kit still reflects the fact that you have 10,000 followers versus 15,000 followers. And that could be the deciding factor right there. Or you got old ass pictures. Sorry, y'all, I'm a cousin. You have old pictures of yourself and you don't look like that anymore. Right now, for the past year, I done had these locks in my hair. If you look at photos from me from 2 years ago, I had the worst wig of life, and I had the nerve to have them photos in there. They like, who is this girl? Every time I see her, she looks different, like updated with some of your best photos. Next slide, please. So what should go into your media kit? So I found this meme probably 6 months ago, and I've been meaning to turn it into a meme for BTA so I could post it on our social posts. But this is actually a really, really good checklist for everybody, right? So the first thing is your name and your niche. For me personally, I'm a diversity and travel consultant. I talk about that, and I talk about Black travel. There is no way a brand can get through my media kit without knowing that, right? Like, they understand this is exactly what I do. You give a short bio about yourself or about you section. If you are also looking to speak a lot, you already have this bio saved, right? So you can use that same bio that when somebody, right before you start presenting and somebody's up there reading your bio, use the same one in your media kit. You should definitely tell them what your main platforms are and your engagement rates. Why is this important? Especially for what people consider a nano influencer, because numbers in terms of followers do not matter to us. Engagement does. I will tell you right now, because I used to be that nano influencer that only had 3,000 followers, but still wanted the free hotel room, my engagement rate is what saved me. So even now as an influencer manager, if you come to me with under 10,000, you're still considered because you can have 7,000 followers, 1,000 followers, and your engagement rate be 49%. I'll take that any day over 150,000 followers and 3% engagement rate. So y'all make sure that you include them engagement rates because they are so important. But even more so, whatever you can get from your website on Google Analytics, that is gold. That is complete gold because now it's showing how many people come to your website, how many site sessions you have, how long they're on there for, what pages they're going to. And these are all things that are desirable to brands because we need what we call evergreen content. So it's content that's going to live forever. So even if you wrote about Cabo San Lucas 3 years ago, but you're giving good tips, people are still going to come to that page, right? So these are things that we want to see. We want to know that the content that you write for us on your actual website is going to last forever. You can highlight past brand collaborations. We want to know who you've worked with before, because if they trust you, then we can trust you, you know, and you guys will see. I take you through my media kit. My brand page is actually really, really messy. And when I was doing this, I was like, you should really take that out and just highlight a few. However, when we see things that we can identify with, or that we can identify, it makes us now like a little thing turn on. So if Hilton sees my media kit and they've already seen that I've worked with Marriott, or they've seen that I work with Hyatt, then they know that, okay, maybe she's trusted to bring this type of information forward. You always want to include your contact information. I always include that, which you'll see. And then lifestyle photos and recent brand content. Again, make sure they know who they're talking to. As Black women, we look completely different from month to month, right? Well, now I look the same because I had this here for a long time. But y'all get what I was saying. Like, make sure they understand that this is you in all of these photos, but also your recent brand photos. If you're a content creator, you're taking photos all the time, go ahead and put them lovely pictures that are current in there. Next slide, please. And I see what Carita is saying, that we aren't on social media much, but our content does amazing on Google with 6 million impressions a month. We're just having a hard time translating it to partnerships. So that's actually really important for something for you to keep in your media kit. And that should probably be one of the first pages that people see, like this stat right here. With 6 million impressions on Google, girl, what? If a brand turns that down, they're crazy. And see, again, and if you guys are over in DCI's session, you heard what they were saying when she was saying, like, sometimes it's not the right fit based off of what a brand wants, but all brands don't want Instagram coverage. For NYCgo, I give you the option. I tell you, you could do a blog post. You could post on TikTok. You could post on Instagram. You could post on Facebook. It's up to you and the niche that you own and the community that you own that lets brands know. I'll tell people all the time, my best platform outside of Instagram is LinkedIn. So that's what I pitch to brands. Why? Because I'm active on LinkedIn. I have so many people who follow me. I have so many connections. Anytime I post something, it's just shared away. Brands want that recognition. So if there's another platform that a brand might not think about it, this is now how you can put it in your media kit and be able to show them with case studies. So this is my personal media kit. I did this for all transparency. Y'all can ask any questions that y'all want. And at the end of this, if you guys want to, you know, go through your media kits, I leave my email address, and you can find some time on my calendar that works with your schedule, and we'll go through them together. Okay, this is what my media kit looks like. My picture, my name, a little quote from Skiff News so people know instantly, what does she do? Diversity and inclusion. Cool. All right, next page. So again, the About Me page, it tells you a little bit about me. It's my bio. Again, I need to change this because you don't know that that's all the same person, but it's all me. And this is why I did this, because this was what I realized my media could look like. And I was like, do they know that all of those people are you? This is why you definitely need to keep it consistent. Next slide. Thank you. So my approach, I let people know instantly what I do on social media or what I do with my content. I am a diversity and travel consultant. I talk about diversity and travel on my platforms, and I additionally talk about Black travel. So I make sure they know that instantly. Next. So my influence, I don't put my numbers on there specifically in terms of what actually comes, like what my actual follower count is. One of the reasons is because follower count goes up and down all the time. You can have one post that sends you from 20,000 followers to 100K. So instead, the thing that's most desirable for me is what my website does. Now, I'll let you in on a little secret. I am not a writer, not a talented one at least. But for whatever reason, I get so many hits on my, not for whatever reason, I do something called the Diversity and Travel Report Card. That is shared across so many travel conferences within brands all the time. So people come to my actual my website for that. Now, these stats are actually outdated. I did this purposefully when I released the new report card, so I will be able to put this stat in there. But make sure that you have those different things that people can actually see, because this is desirable for them. When they see that 28% of returning visitors, they know that something that I'm saying is keeping people coming back. Now, I have the ABC Travel Green Book network of email subscribers, and then I have MartySanDiego.com. I always include my Marty San Diego stuff in my ABC Travel Green Book stuff so that I get more people to come. I share it on LinkedIn, all of those things. So make sure you're using your outlets. So they might go to my Twitter, click on it and be like, yes, you don't do nothing on Twitter. Yeah, because I'm not active on there. But if you want to know if I got a Twitter, now you know. I can post stuff, you know, on Twitter if that's what brands want. But when they go on there, they'll be able to see for themselves, like, oh, she has lower numbers. They might go to my Instagram page and they say, oh, she has larger numbers. Then they'll visit my LinkedIn, which I never want to, you know, not put in there. And once they click on it, they're able to say, oh, okay, her LinkedIn is popping. So make sure you include all avenues that you can. So if you have those Google analytics, put them in this part. If you're really good on YouTube, put them on this part. You don't have to put your follower count on there again. And see, with my media kit, everything is clickable. You can do this all in Canva by just simply adding a link. So when you send a PDF version, anybody can click on it and it will take them straight there. Next page, please. So I tell them my outlets, and it doesn't necessarily mean they have access to these outlets, but I need them to know I'm who I say I am in the industry. So yes, I have this platform at my fingertips. I have this platform at my fingertips. I have this platform at my fingertips. And the reason that is so they understand my network and my reach, right? So don't ever think that you being a volunteer at a nonprofit travel organization is not important. Put that in your media kit, because now they get to see the different avenues, you know, that you can do or that you have a network or reach to. Next, please. I love using Canva too, and exciting. We'll have a partnership with them coming up this next year where you guys will get percentage off. But yeah, we love Canva also. So this is what I was saying when I was looking at it. I was like, ooh, this is a little bit messy, because it is. It's all over the place. I don't need all of these things, but when I went through and I actually changed it, I took things that I had not did in the past 2 years out, right? So Matador came out. The Standard Hotel came out. Norwegian Airlines came out. Maine's Mid-Coast came out. And I put in only the ones that I recently did. So when they have to go back to my website or something, they see the most current things. So make sure this doesn't get crazy, basically, okay? Next page, please. I always include my press. Like I said, I want to boast about myself. This is first impression. So I'm going to literally show you the best parts about me, right? If somebody wrote something about me in Forbes, I need you to be reading that. If somebody wrote something in Travel and Leisure, I need you to be reading that. So if there's a way for you to include a press page, no matter if you're like, oh, they might not know this. No, let them know that somebody thinks you're important enough to include you in the media. And they're going to probably Google search you anyways. So now you can lead them straight there. So if you can include a press page, definitely include that in there. And press also and features, right? So let's say you were featured on Condé Nast. Let them go back to that, like create the link. Let them go back to that, and so that they can see what you've done with past brands. Next page, please. I tell them how their brand can benefit, basically. And so I let them know social media exposure to over this many people, digital assets with licensing rights, brand features and multiple travel outlets. I literally am telling them this is what you can get. And I'm not lying about any of this. This is literally what it comes down to, because this is what I do. Again, that whole network page, like if this is what you want, this is what you can get. Exactly. We do need to brag about ourselves. Let me tell y'all something. One thing we're going to stop doing in 2023 is this imposter syndrome. Listen, you are important. You are amazing. You have done amazing things. Let people give you your flowers, but give yourself your flowers. We work hard as Black travel content creators that people don't know about, even though we're out here working our asses off every single day. Let them know everything that you have done. Like literally, don't be shy. None of that. No, let them see. Literally, let them see. Okay, next page. All right. So again, this was for full transparency. I don't care if nobody knows what I make. A lot of times there's this like weird thing we have going on where we don't talk about the prices that we charge. Y'all can ask anybody on my team. Y'all can ask anybody that I've worked with. Anybody who sends me something on NYCgo. If your prices are too low, I'm gonna tell you. Right? I just had this conversation the other day with a content creator. I was like, sir, do you see the amazing work you put out? I don't care what your follower count is. Look at the quality, the time you use, right, to create these things. Raise your prices. And not only that, because brands are willing to pay for it. This is what I charge. Or this might be, is this old? This might be a little bit old. I probably have gone up on Instagram, but this is definitely what I charge. Again, like there needs to be transparency because a lot of y'all need to raise your prices. Y'all think that you're not worth that much, or y'all think that people won't pay. I tell people all the time, if they can't afford it, they'll let you know. And if you want to sit there and negotiate price, then you can negotiate price, but you set the tone on how much, you know, you want to be paid. Okay. But it's also, it makes sense to be able to say that. People might ask, oh, why do you charge so much for a keynote speaking engagement? Well, because I'm the keynote speaker, and what you're going to pay me for this hour and a half, right, is the same amount I'm going to charge you as a diversity consultant to give you the same knowledge that you can't get anywhere else. So yeah, I'm going to charge you $7,500. If you can't afford it, then I can't come speak. And I'm okay with that, right? Like I'm okay with that. Somebody's going to pay for it. So again, y'all, no imposter syndrome. Do not have it. Raise your prices according to what you do, how much time it takes you, your engagement, and who you are in the industry. Okay. So yes, Marquita, you need to go up on your rates for real, for real. Like stop playing these games with these people. We got to keep the same energy and think about it the same way. When you get a job, you negotiate your salary. Well, why you're not negotiating with what it costs you to make content, especially if you know you have good content, especially if you know the content that you're saying is stuff that people out here need. Raise y'all prices, guys. I don't mind y'all maybe, and actually, I think we talked about this before, having a pricing workshop for BTA. So we can help you guys like either set your prices so you really, really know. But y'all, listen, no imposter syndrome in 2023. Just tell me, I promise, Marty, I promise. Next, please. So media kits for pitches. So the reason why I want to do this is because as content creators, we're also sending media kits or press kits for pitches in terms of when we want products, when we want stays. A lot of people don't do it this way. Me personally, again, I am a visual person. So when I send a pitch to a brand, I not only send them my media kit, but I send them a separate media kit that I made for the pitch that I'm pitching to them. For one, it shows them I'm serious. But for two, again, if I could hook you through the visuals, if I could hook you through what I'm saying, I want to win you over that way. So this is an example of a media kit I did with a company that we wanted stuff from when we went to Antarctica. Next slide, please. So again, I went to Antarctica in February. I wanted to do a whole Black history theme. I wanted to, in my pitch, make sure I'm teaching about people who went before us, but I wanted to make sure that I made some connection between people who had traveled to Antarctica as Black explorers and then me traveling there as a Black traveler. Next page, please. So again, that about me page, another one. Now y'all see here too. How many different hairstyles y'all see? 5. I know people's like, is this more than one person? But this is why you change it, right? This is definitely why you change it. Next one. So again, I call it the trip of a lifetime. I told them on February 12th, myself and 15 other Black travel professionals will embark on Hurtigrut's MS Royal de Munson for an 18-day voyage to Antarctica and the Chilean fjords or Falklands. With true excitement, not only to reach my 7th continent, but because this will be the first time this many Black travelers collectively will embark on this journey with Hurtigruten, indeed making Hurtigruten history. Paying homage to those that have paved the way for this to happen, this trip taking place during Black History Month magnifies my feelings of traveling to this bucket list destination. With Black travelers spinning. I tell them all that. This trip will greatly impact the Black travel community and inspire travelers to make this trip, celebrating Black explorers while we're there is icing on the cake, as it will be educational for every other traveler who will take part in the trip. So you see, I've already told them, you know, this is why this is a trip of a lifetime. But also I dropped those stats. What are Black people spending? So they already knew, right? I tell them it's my 7th continent. So it's a monumental occasion. I tell them this many Black people are traveling here at one time. So they really, really understand. Next slide, please. I talk about who went before I did, right? And now this is a teaching moment, because brands, we all know these days, want to be down with the swirl. And what do I mean by that? They want Black travelers. They want Black travelers to be able to trust their brand. So a lot of that is educating them on what Black travelers do, right? So I let them know who went before me: Matthew Alexander, Barbara Hillary, George Washington Gibbs Jr. And so this is a teaching moment. This is for them to also know. And this lets them know that I am who I say I am, who is somebody who talks about what? Diversity and inclusion, and what else? Black travel. Next slide, please. I talk about who the people are. So it was Phil and myself. So I went through who he was, what he does, all of that. Next slide, please. I talked about our community and outlets. So now they know, like, this is our network. This is who we have access to. So they understand exactly where we're coming from. Now, I did put the numbers in here because this is a little bit more brand specific. And the deliverables we were telling them is you'll get exposure on Instagram. Next. So the partnership opportunities, I let them know exactly what they can do. They could either sponsor a post, they could have a video from content that we created, or we can do photography with their products in Antarctica. So I let them know that what they can have. But when they first got here, they probably looked at this really, really beautiful snow leopard, and they're probably like, wow, like, this is going to be a really great trip. Because at least that's how I'd be if I was looking at this. But next slide, please. And then I told them exactly what we needed to pack based off of what Hertogruchen said. So I literally let them know this is what we were suggested, right? And we need some of your products to be able to do this checklist. So now they know I've already been on their site, right? I've been on their site. I know that they have all of these things. Or I've been on their site. I know they have some of these things. And now they can physically see, oh, she actually needs this to go. Next slide, please. I wanted to make sure that they also understood that George Washington Gibbs Jr.'s daughter had recently come out with this book about her father's journey to Antarctica, right? I wanted to make sure that they knew during this trip, since it was in February, we would be celebrating these untold stories of Black explorers so that they could possibly do what? Share stories about Black explorers. And did they? Absolutely. Why? Because they learned about them in this media kit. Next. And then that was it. I look forward to discussing more for you. So, of course, they say yes. And we literally got everything we needed and more. But this is how you pitch to a brand through a media kit. So the next one that I want to show you before we end for questions, next slide, please, is pitches based off your content. And this is really important also. And this is how you can use your content as case studies in your media kit, or use your content to help you get brand partnerships. So next slide. So literally a month ago, maybe, I pitched to Priority Pass. And if you guys know Priority Pass, it's access to airport lounges. I love Priority Pass. I've been using it for, I don't know, a few years now. But this past year, I've really been using Priority Pass. I think I've gone now to 31 lounges. And I'm like, first of all, I know Priority Pass didn't know that I'd be using it this much, because I definitely got my money's worth and some. But this is what my pitch looked like to them. Next slide, please. So again, the About Me. As you guys can see, photos is updated. My hair is almost the same on all of them, but it's updated now. So now they can say, oh yeah, this is the same girl everywhere. Next slide, please. All right, so I wanted to let them know that in August, I posted a reel about being a Priority Pass member who uses my passes all the time. The videos performed extremely well, and the response I continue to get prompted me to reach out to you for collaboration. Not a week goes by that one of my followers lets me know they got a Priority Pass and that it was the best choice, and that's actually real. So what do? I show them 2 different posts that I did, how many views they got, how many people sent it, and how many people shared it. And I always tell people, you ask my team, we are now in the social media generation where your followers don't matter, the engagement does, down to how many times people sent it and how many times people shared it. Because now we know it's circulating, it's getting in front of a new audience. So if there's ever any time that you can show this specific analytic, that is going to definitely make our ears perk up as influencer managers, because we want content that's constantly being reshared about our destination, about our product, about our conference, any of this. All right. I showed what it looked like also on TikTok. Next slide. I also then showed them, I also then showed them when it got reshared, who it got reshared to. And why is this important? Because this now exactly tells you what the reach was. So if my reach before that was only 18,000 followers, now you add 537,000 followers, 305,000 followers, and then 11K. So I'm right under 1 million, a reach of 1 million. What brand in their right mind doesn't want to see that? Like, oh my gosh, if she does something about us, it can have possibly over 1 million views. So this is why you use your content that you've actually posted and whatever it does, and then you go back and you make sure you show that. Next slide, please. Then I took all the screenshots of what people are saying, and they're like, oh, okay, this is good. Thank you for this. I never used the card. Oh, I was just at that restaurant in San Francisco. So now they see that either my community knows about it, or they want to learn about it, or they love it, or there's more information that needs to be shared with this specific community. Because again, what do you know from me as soon as you read any of my media kits? That I'm diversity inclusion, and then I'm Black travel. That Black travelers spend 109.4 billion a year, 129.6 billion as a whole. They know that from my media kit. So when they see that, it's like, oh yeah, Black travelers really do care. Next slide, please. Then what I did is I told them exactly how I wanted to work with them next year. And I told them, because I'm in airports all the time, y'all, I travel 290 days out of a 365-day calendar year. I told them, let's create content together where I give people a preview of what your actual lounges look like, right? Like what's actually there. Or I let them know, when you go to IAH to Houston, yes, you have restaurants, but you also have a nap option. You also have a nail option. You have 3 different lounges and 3 different concourses, and people need to know their options. So now I'm not only letting them know I've been there, I've stayed in these places, I've ate in these places. I let them know this is exactly what I want to do. Let's create content, and then you pay me for it, because we've already seen that people want to know more about Priority Pass. Next. I tell them my outlets once again, so they just actually know this is what my network is. And funny story, Connie asked the other day, they had us going through asking us for like the recommendations they want to give for 2023. And one was like, what pass do you want people to have? And I was like, Priority Pass is, again, something that I have access to that I can either suggest or make sure other travelers know about through the outlet that I have. Next, please. And then I just let them know I look forward to creating with you. So this is exactly how you can use your social media content and your analytics to then put into a media kit or a pitch so that you can get brand deals. Next slide, please. Are there any questions, comments, concerns? You're welcome. And you can ask anything. I mean, I know that you guys have been asking some stuff. When cold emailing is better to hyperlink the media kit pitches or send the file. I know some CMOs. Yeah, so I always just upload it to Google and then send the file, because a lot of times if our content is too big, it will never make it to them, because there's a limit to how much you can send in the actual email. So if you could upload to Google and just send the Google link, do it that way. But remember, I told y'all LinkedIn. LinkedIn is where you want to be, because you can find exactly who you're looking for. The other day, I had to pitch something to Puerto Rico. So I got on LinkedIn. I went through there. First of all, I went through to see who I'm already connected to. And then I went to see who's their influencer manager. So I just reached out to them directly and sent them the link to my media kit. So y'all also like think about LinkedIn, you know, when you're pitching, because then you don't have to cold email. You know exactly who it is. And I normally just send an email like, hi, I'm Martinique Lewis. I'm a content creator. I have this idea about working with your brand. Who's the best person to reach out to? Is it you? And a lot of times they'll be like, no, it's not me, but it's actually going to be this person. Here's their email address, or you can send it to me and I can forward it to them, instead of it being, it could just go into somebody's email and they might not ever see it. You're absolutely welcome. What do you recommend if your engagement rate isn't the highest? So we were having this conversation the other day too. So one thing that gets your engagement up is how much your content is shared. So if when posting, you can tag brands that highlight Black travel things, then definitely do that so that they can repost your content. But additionally, you have to be on social media being active for people to be active with you, right? But I would say tag brands so they're constantly seeing your content so that they can reshare it, repost it, and so that more people will come to your profile. However, if your engagement isn't as high as you think, then pull out the things like what people are saying about your content. But it also could mean that you just need to work on your content a little more, or you need to post more so your engagement can be higher. But if you want, we could do an analysis. I can analyze your social media and try to help, if that helps. Yes, LinkedIn is definitely underrated. Does it matter if the kit is horizontal or vertical? Okay, so it doesn't matter, but I can tell you, I read left to right instead of up and down. And when it's automatically sent to me like that, it's like it feels much more like a work document. So I like to get them that are, what is that one? Vertical? No, horizontal. That's not horizontal. What is that part called? Because horizontal is this. Vertical is up and down. Landscape? I guess so. Nobody wants to help me? I think it's landscape. Thank you, Joanne. Where does someone start out creating a media kit and pitch? So Canva. I love Canva, right? I have training in graphic design, and I used to have to create everything either in PowerPoint or Photoshop. When Canva came around, it was like, thank you, Jesus, hallelujah. They have so many templates on there, so you can definitely start right in Canva, add your photos. You can add logos. It allows you to remove backgrounds, but they also already have things that are already set up where you just go in, you put in the picture, and you change the words. So Canva is amazing, but I see from here we should probably do the Canva workshop January, because like I said, we're going to partnership with them. We're going to do a vision board workshop through Canva, but maybe we should do a how to use Canva or all the things that Canva has first, and then we'll do the other one. So, okay. I definitely hear you on that. Okay, we don't do much social media, but our blog does well, and we seem to only get free product offers. How can we translate that to paid partnerships? So again, that's based off of the brands that you are pitching to. What do they want? If they want social media, then y'all got to build your social media, and you got to be dedicated to it, because they might not only want blog content, they want it to reach people through social media. So it's something for you to reconsider about what your brand is actually going to be. And I've seen your your social media. It looks great. Just continue to do it. That same effort you put into your blog, take paragraphs and the photos and make it a social media post, and then send people from social media back to your blog. Again, if you want me to go through and help you along with other people in here, Kerwin, there we go. Kerwin is really, really good at analyzing so much. Your website, your social media. I'm sure there are people in here who are willing to look at your stuff and be able to say, okay, maybe you guys should think about it doing this way. But also, again, never forget, social media is like the new age for any type of information. So you have to be able to go with the spirit of the time and say, if social media is what they want, then we'll give them social media and just continue to build it. Rome wasn't built in a day, but let me tell you something about consistency, baby. Consistency is key. So the more consistent you are, the more you're going to see yourself grow. What I just suggested in terms of tagging those brands or tagging communities that would definitely love your content and repost it to get more people to your content, definitely do that as well. You've taken a break from your blog for a couple of years and more active on social media. If your blog isn't current, no, you don't have to put it up there. If you are going to start it back up, then yeah, do it. And that's another thing. Like, brands definitely look at dates, right? So I put my blog on there, and like I said, I'm always traveling. So I always do have to write something, but there might be like a month gap, 2 months gap. But again, I don't position myself as a blogger. I've never called myself that. I let people know that my major outlets are through social media, so they know that's what they can expect. But they also know that if they want the evergreen content, they can get that. So just think of it in that way. You can definitely keep it on there, but if you're not going to be active, then yeah, it doesn't need to be on there. If you are just starting out as a travel influencer, how can you make sure you choose a profitable niche that stands out to brand? So it's not about choosing a profitable niche. You don't necessarily choose your niche actually chooses you. And what do I mean by that? Like, for years, I wasn't even in the travel space. I came from the fashion industry. But I've always cared about Black travel just as a regular traveler. So I realized once I started creating content about that, other people wanted to know about it. And that's how I came into my niche. So my niche stands out to brands because I'm constantly doing that. And I can prove with my analytics that people want to know about it. So I would say find the niche that fits you, that you don't have to fit into, because you'll never see me talking about luxury travel, because that don't fit me. I'm okay staying in a 1-bedroom in a jungle somewhere. Like, it don't have to be nice, that's not me. So if I'm pitching for luxury brands, if I'm calling myself a luxury, it's not going to make sense. So do something that makes sense to you. No niche is more important than the other one. No niche is dumb. Girl, you got people whose niches are birding niches. You have people whose niches are battlefield tourism. Who knew? Because it's not in our direct, it's not in our direct reach, but there are people who go to destinations specifically for battlefield tourism. Yeah, I keep talking about Curran, but I have to tell you, because Curran's niche is aviation and airline employees. I stalked his website the other day so bad that I had to send him a message and tell him, like, Kerwin, I'm in love with your website, because it speaks to a part of me that everybody doesn't know about, which is I grew up with having employee passes on airlines. That's Kerwin's niche. Somebody needs that. So never be afraid to move forward with the niche that speaks to your heart the most, because you will stand out to a brand, because that is what you are an expert in. So continue to talk about that. Continue to create the stuff about that, because your tribe will come. All right. Yep. Hit me up about the social media, Corita. Okay. Before folks open the attached pitch deck, what kind of language are you putting in the email? So there's always going to be a pitch email that you put in them. I can't remember if we've had, actually, if you go to our YouTube, we had how to pitch to Condé Nast, and we had how to pitch to brands. They both talk about the initial email. So if you go back to there, you'll know what to put in there, but it doesn't need to be anything extensive, because it'll be in your media kit in terms of what you do. Now, if you don't create that separate media kit that is asking for something specific, then you can tell them why you're reaching out to them. But you always want to say, I've attached my media kit so you've learned more about me, and they know that it's in the body of the email. How to translate your lives into content. Girl, that's really easy. If you're in Costa Rica right now for 2 months, as a Black family, talk about what that is about. But also, there's a Black travel community in Costa Rica, in Limon. Go there and say what the interaction was, right? Be showing all of that. Diva from I Got Your Black, she takes us into Mexico and talks about the Afro-Mexican community there. That helps her stand out. So use those things, or what it's like to cook for your kids in Costa Rica when you have different things, or what your kids eat on a daily basis, or how your kids are learning in Costa Rica. You see what I'm saying? Like, pull that stuff out and then show it on social media, because people want to know that. Black expats are going to Costa Rica and the Drovos right now. Matter of fact, there's another lady there. I can't remember where she is, but hit me up after this, where she moved her and her daughters there permanently, and her whole social media is about their transition to Costa Rica and how her daughters are adapting. People love it. They're eating it up. You know why? Because they want to do it too. Same thing in Portugal. Definitely just keep the same themes, but do it from country to country, and people are going to want to know. All right. If there are no other questions, I think that we're good, right? If you want to reach out to me again, next slide. If you want to reach out to me, this is how you can find me. Definitely add me on LinkedIn. Get active on LinkedIn, y'all. It's the people who need to see you, because it's the people from corporate, right? Like, for sure. Add me on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook, LinkedIn. You see my email address there, or you can reach out to me at president@blacktravelalliance.org. But thank you all. Oh, sure. Question about LinkedIn. Feel free, my dear. Okay, so you would need to start a separate LinkedIn for your family, for your family's brand. And you can have two. I have so many different, well, I don't have so many different LinkedIns, but I can control BTA's LinkedIn for mine and my personal one. So it can be an extension of that. But yeah, you could just create a separate page. And that's why LinkedIn has pages also for people to follow. So yeah, use it to that. Definitely. So all you guys know that it's 12:54 from where I am. So sorry, I get so mixed up. But from 12, yes, to 1, you have affiliate marketing or getting your coin, how to make money through affiliate marketing on social media. So y'all make sure y'all hop into that session with Mercedes Ariel. If you have low numbers, it's worth approaching brands to offer, user-generated content, as most don't have diverse content on their feeds. For sure, Linda. Thank you so much for that. All right, y'all. Again, her session has already started. All right, y'all can go over there. Have a great time at Wavelength. Thank you for being here. Bye. Thank you, Shanae.